Because just like he is anger, he is love. Okay? So even though God had to deal with the issue at hand, he waits to a more convenient time. Lets things cool off. He decides to meet Adam in the garden. Now, this is not because, and read your first century historian Josephus, this is not because, just by coincidence, that God shows up one day to walk with Adam and Eve. God does this every day in the garden at the same time of the day because man is his best creation. And so God talks with his best creation every day. And he shows up at their regularly scheduled time. And guess what? Adam ain't there. God calls out, Adam, where are you? Silence. I wonder how many of us are called, God is calling today, and you don't even respond. God's talking to you. He's calling you to a greater, higher level of existence, but you won't respond. He's calling you out of darkness into the marvelous light, and so you come to church every Sunday, and he's calling your name, and you don't respond. Adam, where are you? Finally, Adam says, you know what? I can run, but I can't hide. And so Adam get ready to stand up, and I see Eve pull him down. She said, boy, don't get up from here. Adam said, I might as well go because he knows where I am. So he gets up, and he goes and talks to Adam. He said, here I am. He goes and talks to God. He said, here I am, Lord. He said, well, Adam, what you was hiding for? He said, because I was naked. Lord presses pause and said, wait a minute, boy, stop. Slow it. Who told you that you were naked? Because the text says that they were naked and unashamed. God's trying to pair you with somebody that you ain't got to be ashamed of. Where you can mess up and they don't point fingers of criticism at you. They say, baby, we'll get better next time.
All right.
Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? God's trying to pair you with somebody that you don't have to be ashamed in front of. Somebody where you don't have to hide money from. In a separate bank account. Without their name or y'all ain't gonna work with it. Somebody that you don't have to be ashamed of. It says, you were hiding because I was ashamed. God said, well, wait a minute. And here it is. Because many of us, we talk so much that we tell on ourselves. All right. And don't even know we told on ourselves. All right. He says, well, Adam, did you eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil that I told you not to eat of? Adam responds to this and says, it was the woman. He doesn't even try to come up with a cover-up story or nothing. He said, Lord, it was her. It's not her. It was her. And you know what? She the problem, and you gave her to her. Are y'all working with me? And he doesn't accept responsibility as the head of the household. Even if it was her fault. And theologians debate this back and forth. I really don't care whose fault it was, but even if it was her fault, Adam should have stood up and said, it's mine. Man ought to love his wife as Christ loved the church. First thing a woman say is, God died for the church. What about you, man? But greater than Christ dying for the church, Christ just laid his life down for the church because he knew that he had enough power to pick it up again. Are y'all working with me? And he should have accepted responsibility. Adam doesn't say nothing. He said, you deal with her, just leave me out of this. And after he blames it on Adam, on Eve, after he blames it on God, then he says, yeah, I did. Yeah, Lord, after he'd gone through see what had happened was, then he says, it was me. Now, he doesn't accept responsibility for his own actions, and that's where many of us are. We are endangering the lives of other people because you refuse to Jonah, ladies and gentlemen, is on the ship because he's disobedient to God. And because he's disobedient to the Lord, he's running from God, and the storm is raging on the ship. They done threw all the chicken off and threw all the... That was a sin right there in other stuff. They threw all that sin right there. That should have been real bad right there. That 3 pieces of biscuit off right there. They threw all that off overboard. And when they got off of the ship, then he says, I'm the cause of the trouble. And the only way that the storm is going to stop raging is if you throw me off. Because you see, the captain of the ship said, Joe, you should have said that in the first place. Get him. And there's so many of us that refuse to accept responsibility for our own action. Divorces are, marriages are disintegrating in divorce every day. Why? Because nobody wants to say, I'm the cause of the trouble. People are fired every day because they don't know how to keep their mouths shut on the job, because they refuse to say that I'm the cause of the trouble. You can get along with your children right now because you keep meddling in your adult children's business. Because you refuse to say that I'm the cause of the trouble. Am I making any sense? You got to accept responsibility. If they would have accepted responsibility, they didn't have to be driven out. God is a God of grace. Yes, He is. Don't you think that God is forgiving today that He would have been forgiving then? Yes. But we lie to the grace giver and refuse to accept responsibility. As a result, you can't grow. There's somebody here that said, Preacher, you know, I've been in limbo. Preacher, I've been coming to church, but ain't no church in there. Preacher, I've been coming, waving and clapping my hands, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Preacher, I'm behind the show. I'm sitting here today, and I've covered up